Vatican approves blessings for same-sex couples. Pope Francis allows blessing for same-sex couples. Vatican officially okays Catholic blessings for gay couples. Pope Francis allows blessings for couples in same-sex relationships. So, did he do it? Fiducia supplicans just came out yesterday, and this is coming out of the Dicastery of the Doctrine of the Faith, as basically said, hey, new rules, new guidelines for blessing people, couples. It specifically says couples. I'm going to show you the document. I'm going to link to the document directly so you can read it for yourself, plus some of these articles that are sort of giving it to some commentary. There's a lot of going back and forth today in the Twitter feed and everywhere else. The Pope has opened the door to blessing same-sex couples. No, the Pope did not do this. This is not what the Pope did. Oh, yeah? Well, then tell that to the BBC. Pope says Roman Catholic priests can bless same-sex couples. Tell that to Reuters. Vatican approves blessings for same-sex couples in landmark ruling. Really? Tell that to CNN. Pope Francis allows blessing for same-sex couples. Tell that to the National Catholic Reporter. In major doctrinal shift, Vatican officially okays Catholic blessings for gay couples. Tell that to the America Magazine, the Jesuit outfit. Pope Francis allows blessings for couples in same-sex relationships. Golly gee whiz, the hits don't stop there. Tell that to Father James Martin. Vatican Declaration on same-sex blessings. Be wary of the, quote, nothing has changed, close quote, response to today's news. It's a significant change. In short, yesterday, as a priest, I was forbidden to bless same-sex couples at all. Today, with some limitations, I can. Close quote. Father James Martin, S.J. Oh, he's not alone. There are others. Quote, waiting for the usual uber Catholics to react. Countdown 3, 2, 1. Doctrinal declaration opens possibility to bless couples in irregular situations. Vatican News. But it just keeps coming, and it just keeps coming. So, did he do it? Is it possible to bless homosexual or other irregular relationships? Well, let's dive into it because it's a slippery slope. Fire is being played with here, and I guarantee someone's going to get burned. But here is the document, Fiducia supplicans. I'm going to link to it in the show notes so you can read it for yourself in its entirety, along with the pillars outlook on this. But right in the opening paragraphs, Paragraph 3, just in the opening, there's not even a number to this paragraph because they haven't even begun numbering yet. It's just an introduction. And it says, quote, it is precisely in this context that one can understand the possibility of blessing couples in irregular situations and same-sex couples without officially validating their status or changing in any way the church's perennial teaching on marriage, close quote. If I didn't read anything else to you, if that was the only sentence I read at all from this document, what can we glean from just that one sentence, which is only in the opening introduction from Cardinal Fernandez, not even the Pope's words? Number one, that we aren't talking about individuals. We're talking about couples. The word couple is used. Couples in relationship to each other, same sex or otherwise, that is definitely on the table. That is what's being discussed. So if anybody says, oh, it's just talking about blessing individuals, that's not true. That is not true. Cardinal Fernandez himself makes it very clear that the context is about couples, same sex, irregular or otherwise. Number one. Number two, there's obviously a threat and a possibility that a lot of people will think that the church's teaching is actually being changed because he also makes that explicitly clear. So the goal here, according to Cardinal Victor Manuel Fernandez, is to, one, bless same-sex couples or couples in irregular situations, and number two, do that while at the same time not changing the church's teaching. Golly gee whiz, that's like talking out of both sides of your mouth, don't you think? I mean, you'd have to be pretty advanced and sophisticated to be able to pull that one off, I would argue. But that's kind of what we're dealing with here. So right out of the gate, in just the hey, guess what's coming, guys? We already see what's at stake. It's very, very serious. Now, It goes on to, in the numbered paragraph section, it starts to talk about, listen, I'm going to summarize for you. You can look it for yourself. We can't call it marriage. Okay, guys, we can't call it marriage. So it can't look like a marriage. It can't have the pomp and the circumstance of a sacrament. It can't have the smells and the bells. You can't dress like it, act like it, pretend like it. It can't be any of those things. We just can't call it that. You can call it anything else. You just can't call it marriage, and you can't call it a sacrament. The church, it says very explicitly, it says the church has the right, the duty, the obligation, the privilege of defending true marriage. It does say this. Praise be to God. But then it kind of goes on, and it starts to get into some troubled territory. Let's skip down to paragraph 31 where the juicy bits start. Within the horizon outlined here appears the possibility of blessings for couples in irregular situations and for couples of the same sex, the form of which should not be fixed ritually by ecclesial authorities to avoid producing confusion, the blessing proper to the sacrament of marriage. In such cases, a blessing may be imparted that not only has an ascending value, but also involves the invocation of a blessing that descends from God upon those who, recognizing themselves to be destitute and in need of his help, do not claim a legitimization of their own status, but who beg that all that is true, good, and humanly valid in their lives and their relationships be enriched, healed, and elevated by the presence of the Holy Ghost. These forms of blessings express a supplication that God may grant those aids that come from the impulses of his Spirit, with classical theology calls actual grace, so that human relationships may mature and grow in fidelity to the gospel, that they may be freed from their imperfections and frailties, and that they may express themselves in the ever-increasing dimensions of the divine love. Clear enough. Can't call it marriage, can't look like marriage, but golly gee whiz, these are just sinners. They're just sinners, Joe. Just sinners who recognize in themselves that they need God. They need God's grace. And how could you be such a meaniehead that you would want to deny them of this? Well, I wouldn't. I don't want to deny anybody of the need of God. I need God probably more than most. So I can appreciate and respect that. But, golly gee whiz, are we playing with fire? Let me give you sort of an analogy of sorts. Producer Jake, let's pretend for a second that you're Father Jake. I'm just a guy and I show up to the parish randomly, of course. I mean, I am wearing like a ninja outfit with like a balaclava thing, so you can only see my eyes, okay? But I'm just randomly showing up because I recognize, Father Producer Jake, that I am a sinner and I'm in desperate need of God's grace, okay? And I say, Father Producer Jake, would you bless me? Oh, and could you also bless these metal, extremely sharp, star-like objects and my katana sword? Could you bless these objects? Because they're part of my work tools, okay? I use these. I mean, technically to assassinate other human beings, but nonetheless, these are work tools. I'd like you to bless these tools and bless me in my work because I want to do what I do for the glory of God. Assassinate other human beings as a professional ninja. Like, that'd be okay, don't you think, Father Producer Jay? You could do that for me, couldn't you?
Seems like it, according to this document, right?
Exactly.
Maybe.
Like, it seems totally plausible that we could be doing this. Like, golly gee whiz, where does it stop? I mean, just think about this. How many people are now going to be using this as like weaponized opportunities? Think about the baker, the photographer, the graphic design website person who've all had to go to fight for their right, go all the way up to the Supreme Court and back. One had to go like twice, fighting for their right not to be fined into oblivion, lose their business and everything because they refused to allow their services to be used for same-sex unions because they said it was, in their religious belief, it was wrong. And they had to fight hundreds of thousands of dollars in legal fees only to be told in the end that, yeah, you don't have to actually use your artistry to promote something that you feel is immoral. How many people now, as a result to this document, are going to be confronting priests, arbitrarily showing up? Because at the end of the day, the document does make clear you can't dress like it's a marriage going down. You can't act like it. You can't have the smells and bells. You can't have anything. But here's the question. Where does it stop? Does it stop with just Jim and Bob or Sally and Sarah? Or does it go on from there? One man, 3 wives. One wife, 3 husbands. A father and a daughter. 2 siblings. A person and their pet dog. Where's this? I mean, this is a slippery slope. Either way, people like Father James Martin and the rest, they are definitely, most definitely saying big changes have happened. Big, huge changes. Did you like that video? It's okay. You can admit it. It's perfectly fine. Hey, we cover the big stories of our day, from inside the church to outside the church to all points in between, and we do it from a Catholic perspective. It's called A Catholic Take. It's a radio program Monday through Friday. We live stream it right here on this channel, by the way, so make sure to subscribe, like, and share. We would be very grateful to you. And don't forget, you're going to want to watch this video right here because you don't want to miss anything.